Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Have you ever imagined finding a single quarter that could change your life? A quarter so rare, so valuable, that it's worth a staggering $1 million? Well, today, we're diving into the story of the 2017 Ellis Island quarter. Some collectors claim this coin is worth a fortune, but is it really? Stick around, because you just might want to start digging through your change after this video. Before we get too deep into this treasure hunt, let's talk about what makes this quarter special. Because let's be honest, most quarters end up in parking meters, snack machines, or lost in the car seat. But this one? It's got people talking, and for good reason. The 2017 Ellis Island quarter is part of the America the Beautiful series, a program that ran from 2010 to 2021, featuring different national parks and historic landmarks. This particular design showcases Ellis Island, the gateway for millions of immigrants coming to America in search of a better life. And if you happen to own the right version of this coin, you might just be on your way to a better life yourself. But what makes this quarter worth potentially $1 million? Let's break it down into three key factors: condition, errors, and rarity. First, let's talk about condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Collectors use a grading scale that starts at poor and goes all the way up to mint state 70, MS 70. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Most quarters in circulation have signs of wear, scratches, dings, and fading details. But if you happen to have a 2017 Ellis Island quarter in mint state 67 or higher, you could be looking at a serious payday. Some MS 67 examples have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And an MS 70? Well, those are the kind of finds that send collectors into a frenzy. Now, let's talk errors. This is where things get really exciting. Some 2017 Ellis Island quarters were struck with minting errors, and these mistakes can make a coin incredibly valuable. This happens when the coin is struck twice by the die, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering or design. Collectors love these types of errors. If the coin wasn't properly aligned when struck, part of the design might be missing or shifted. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin. Some quarters were struck without their full nickel coating, revealing a copper-colored core. These stand out and are highly collectible. These are imperfections in the die that create unique raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface. The more noticeable the error, the higher the potential value. If you have a 2017 Ellis Island quarter with one of these rare errors, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands, or even more. Where does the $1 million price tag come from? There have been rumors and speculation online that a single ultra-rare version of this quarter has sold or could sell for that much. While no confirmed sale has hit the $1 million mark yet, that doesn't mean it's impossible. The right combination of rarity, error, and high collector demand could push prices sky high in the future. Remember, some seemingly ordinary coins have sold for incredible amounts before, especially when they have something unique that makes them stand out from the rest. So, how do you know if you've got a valuable Ellis Island quarter? It must have the P mint mark, indicating it was made in Philadelphia. Use a magnifying glass and good lighting to inspect the coin for doubling, misprints, or missing layers. If your coin looks pristine and uncirculated, it may be worth sending to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for an official grade. Check recent auction sales and collector forums to see what similar coins are selling for. At the end of the day, while most 2017 Ellis Island quarters are still worth just 25 cents, the thrill of the hunt is what makes coin collecting exciting. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone hoping to strike it rich with pocket change, it never hurts to check. Who knows? You could be holding a coin that's worth a small fortune without even realizing it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more coin collecting tips, rare finds, and stories from the world of numismatics. And if you happen to find $1 million quarter, don't forget to let us know in the comments. Hey there, fellow coin collectors and treasure hunters. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a regular old quarter, and realizing it's worth over $1 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, today, we're talking about the 1994 D Washington quarter, a coin that has sparked a lot of buzz, with some claims saying it's worth a staggering $1.1 million. Could it be true? And more importantly, could you be holding one of these ultra-rare quarters right now? Stick around, and let's find out. Now, before we start fantasizing about cashing in our loose change for a brand new yacht, let's break down exactly why this particular quarter has become such a hot topic. First, let's talk about the basics. The 1994 D Washington quarter was minted in Denver, which is what the D mint mark stands for. It's part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932. Now, normally, a 1994 D quarter isn't anything too special. Millions were produced, and most of them are still floating around in circulation. But as we all know, not all quarters are created equal. So, what makes this one special? There are three key factors that determine if your 1994 D quarter could be worth a fortune: condition, rare errors, and market demand. Let's start with condition. In the world of coin collecting, grade matters a lot. The highest graded coins are labeled as mint state, with MS67 or higher being the gold standard. If your 1994 D quarter looks like it just left the mint yesterday, with no scratches, no wear, and a perfect shine, it could be worth a pretty penny. Coins graded MS67 and above can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Next, we have rare errors. This is where things get interesting. Some of the most valuable coins in history are the ones that were minted with mistakes. We're talking about off-center strikes, double dies, missing elements, or even wrong planchet errors. A few 1994 D quarters have surfaced with unusual errors, and those unique flaws make collectors go crazy. The rarer the error, the higher the value. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Where did this $1.1 million claim come from? The reality is that while high-grade and error quarters can fetch big money, no publicly known sale of a 1994 D quarter has actually reached that $1 million mark yet. However, coin values fluctuate, and as the hobby grows, new discoveries can drive prices higher than ever. If an extremely rare error coin were found in near-perfect condition, who's to say it couldn't sell for an astronomical price at the right auction? So, what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1994 D quarter? First, check for mint errors. Look for doubling in the lettering, off-center strikes, or anything unusual in the design. If you think you've got something special, consider getting it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can make all the difference when it comes to selling your coin for top dollar. At the end of the day, most 1994 D quarters are still worth just 25 cents. But for the lucky few who find that perfect coin with a rare error, the payday could be life-changing. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who enjoys the thrill of the hunt, keep checking your pocket change. The next $1 million coin could be hiding right under your nose. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more rare coin stories, collecting tips, and market updates. And if you've ever found a valuable coin in your change, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're digging through some spare change, maybe looking for a quarter for a parking meter or a vending machine, and boom! You realize you might be holding onto a coin worth over $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1991 P Washington quarter and why some say it could be worth a staggering $1.2 million. Get ready, because this one is a wild ride. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been a staple in American currency since 1932, but not every quarter is created equal. The 1991 P quarter was minted in Philadelphia, hence the P mint mark, and while millions were made, a few extraordinary examples have surfaced that could be worth a life-changing fortune. So, why is there so much hype about this quarter? Well, there are three major factors that can turn an ordinary 1991 P Washington quarter into a jackpot coin: condition, errors, and rarity. First, let's talk about condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is king. If you have a 1991 P quarter in pristine, untouched condition, what we call mint state, it can fetch a premium. The grading scale goes from 1 to 70, and coins graded MS 67 or higher are extremely rare. If you've got one with a flawless surface, sharp details, and brilliant luster, you're looking at a valuable coin. Now, let's move on to errors. This is where things get really interesting. Certain minting errors can skyrocket the value of a coin. Some 1991 P quarters have been discovered with off-center strikes, double dies, or missing clad layers, making them highly desirable to collectors. One of the most sought-after errors is the double die obverse, where elements of Washington's face appear double due to a mistake in the minting process. If you find a quarter like this, you could be sitting on a small fortune. What about the $1 million price tag? That's where rarity and market demand come in. While no regular 1991 P quarter has sold for $1.2 million, rumors of ultra-rare specimens in perfect condition or with unique errors have driven speculation. In the right auction, with the right buyers, a rare combination of errors, condition, and demand could push the price into the stratosphere. So, how do you know if you've got one of these legendary coins? First, inspect it closely. Look for any doubling, off-center designs, or other unusual characteristics. If it appears flawless and has an error, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC for professional evaluation. A certified high-grade or rarer 1991 P quarter could bring in serious cash. At the end of the day, most 1991 P quarters are still just worth 25 cents. But the possibility of finding a rare, valuable one keeps collectors and treasure hunters searching every day. Who knows? Maybe the next time you check your change, you'll strike it rich. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you think you've found $1 million quarter, let us know in the comments. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. Imagine this: you're sifting through your pocket change, and you stumble upon a regular-looking 1972 quarter. No big deal, right? But then you hear the rumors that this very coin, under the right conditions, could be worth a life-changing $1.3 million. Sounds unbelievable? Well, today, we're diving deep into the truth behind the 1972 no-mint mark Washington quarter. Stick around, because this is one coin story you don't want to miss. Now, before you rush to check your couch cushions, let's get into what makes this quarter so special. Because, let's be honest, most quarters end up in parking meters, vending machines, or lost in the car seats. But this one? This one might just change your life. First, let's talk about the basics. The 1972 Washington quarter was produced at 3 different U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Typically, coins from Denver carry a D mint mark, and those from San Francisco have an S. But Philadelphia? Well, in 1972, the quarters from this mint had no mint mark at all. If millions of these Philadelphia quarters were made, why would one be worth over $1 million? That's where things get interesting. The value of a 1972 no mint mark Washington quarter depends on 3 main factors: condition, rare mint errors, and collector demand. Let's start with condition. A quarter's value can skyrocket if it's in pristine condition. Coin collectors call this mint state, and the best of the best are graded on a scale up to MS-70. Most quarters have been circulated, tossed in pockets, or scraped up over the years, but if you somehow have a 1972 no-mint mark quarter in MS-67 or higher, you're looking at serious money. Next, we have mint errors. Errors are what really drive collectors wild, and the 1972 quarter has a few that can turn an ordinary coin into a small fortune. Look out for double die obverse (DDO) errors. This means the design was stamped twice, creating a shadow or doubled appearance on the lettering or the image of Washington. Another sought-after error is an off-center strike, where the image doesn't quite line up with the edge of the coin. If you find a 1972 no-mint mark quarter with one of these rare mistakes, you might be sitting on a goldmine. And finally, there's collector demand. The reason rare quarters fetch astronomical prices is because collectors are always on the hunt for the best and rarest examples. Coins graded at the highest levels, with unique errors or flawless surfaces, can trigger bidding wars at auctions. This is where we start seeing crazy numbers, like $1.3 million being thrown around. The highest graded known example of a 1972 no-mint mark quarter hasn't officially hit that mark yet, but if one is discovered in perfect condition with a rare error, who knows how high the price could go. Now, let's say you think you've got one of these valuable quarters. What should you do? First, grab a magnifying glass and examine the details. Look for any doubling on the lettering or an off-center strike. If it looks promising, get it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. A verified high-grade coin with an error could fetch a life-changing price at auction. But here's the reality check. Most 1972 no-mint mark quarters, even in decent condition, are still worth just 25 cents. The $1 million price tag comes into play only for the absolute rarest specimens. That being said, the thrill of the hunt is what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know when you might stumble upon a hidden gem.so. Should you start checking your quarters? Absolutely. The 1972 no-mint mark Washington quarter is proof that rare finds are still out there. Whether or not you discover a $1 million coin, the journey of coin collecting is priceless. And who knows? Maybe one day, you'll be the one making headlines for finding the next big treasure. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more rare coin finds, collecting tips, and fascinating stories from the world of numismatics. And if you think you've found a valuable quarter, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. Imagine digging through your loose change and finding a single quarter worth $1.4 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, today, we're talking about the 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter, a coin that's got collectors and treasure hunters buzzing with excitement. Could this be the holy grail hiding in your pocket? Stick around because this story is one for the ages. Let's start with why this quarter is even worth talking about. Back in 1965, the U.S. Mint made a huge change, literally. Up until 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver, but due to rising silver prices, the government decided to switch to a copper-nickel composition starting in 1965. However, not all quarters followed the script. And that's where things get interesting. Some rare 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on 90% silver planchets. Those are the metal blanks used to make coins. These errors are insanely valuable today because they weren't supposed to exist. And let me tell you, if you've got one of these, you're sitting on a potential fortune. Now, how do you know if you have the right 1965 quarter? First, the weight. Regular copper-nickel quarters weigh about 5.67 grams, but the silver error quarters weigh around 6.25 grams. That tiny difference might not seem like much, but in the coin world, it's everything. If you've got a digital scale at home, it's time to put your quarters to the test. Second, the edge of the coin. Modern quarters have that telltale copper-colored stripe along the edge. But a silver quarter? That edge will be solid silver with no copper showing. So if your 1965 quarter has a nice, bright, clean edge, you might be onto something big. Third, the sound test. Silver coins have a distinct, high-pitched ring when dropped on a hard surface, while copper-nickel quarters sound dull. It's not a foolproof test, but it's another clue to watch for. So, how much are these error coins actually worth? While most 1965 quarters are just worth face value, the rare silver ones have been known to fetch massive prices at auction. And here's where things get wild. A verified 1965 silver quarter recently sold for an astonishing $1.4 million. That's life-changing money for a single coin. Now, let's talk about what you should do if you think you've found one. First, don't clean it. I repeat, do not clean it. Cleaning a coin can actually lower its value. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and store it in a safe place. Next, you'll want to get it authenticated. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can examine your coin and confirm whether it's the real deal. If it is, congratulations, you just hit the jackpot. At the end of the day, most 1965 quarters are just ordinary pocket change. But the thrill of finding that one rare silver error, that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. So go ahead, check your jars, dig through your old coin rolls, and see if you've got $1 million piece of history hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more coin collecting tips, rare finds, and stories from the world of numismatics. And hey, if you happen to find one of these silver beauties, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. Hey there, coin hunters. Imagine digging through your spare change and finding a quarter, just a regular old Washington quarter, but instead of being worth 25 cents, it's worth a staggering $1.5 million. Sounds crazy, right? But today, we're going to talk about the 1986 Washington quarter, why it's making waves in the coin collecting world, and what you should be looking for if you want to cash in on this jackpot. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's talk about one of the biggest mysteries in modern coin collecting. Could you be carrying a fortune in your pocket? Let's find out. What's so special about the 1986 Washington quarter? At face value, nothing seems unusual. It's got George Washington's classic profile on the obverse and the iconic eagle design on the reverse, just like every other quarter from that era. But here's where it gets interesting. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced these quarters, struck millions of them. That means they're not inherently rare. However, collectors have been buzzing about certain error coins and ultra-high-grade specimens that have sold for insane amounts. Now, let's break this down into three major categories: condition, errors, and hype. First, condition. If your 1986 quarter has been rattling around in a drawer for decades, it's probably seen some wear and tear. But if you have one that looks flawless, no scratches, no dings, and a brilliant shine, you might be in luck. In the coin world, the term mint state refers to coins that have never been used in circulation. The highest grade, MS-70, is basically perfection. Coins that grade MS-67 or higher are considered rare for this year, and they can sell for thousands of dollars. And yes, the highest graded versions can potentially push into the $1 million range. Second, errors. This is where things get really exciting. Some 1986 Washington quarters have been found with dramatic minting mistakes, double dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and even misprints where part of the design is completely messed up. These types of errors make collectors go crazy because they're unique and incredibly hard to find. The rarer the error, the more valuable the coin. If you happen to have a 1986 quarter with a significant minting mistake, you could be sitting on a fortune. And finally, let's talk about the hype. Lately, there's been a surge in interest in old quarters, and social media has been buzzing with stories of million-dollar finds. Now, while it's true that some extremely rare coins have fetched massive amounts at auction, it's important to separate fact from fiction. No public sale of a 1986 p quarter has reached $1.5 million yet. But with the right combination of rarity, condition, and error type, who's to say it couldn't happen? So how do you know if your quarter is worth big money? Look for any errors, odd markings, or anything that seems out of the ordinary. If it looks crisp and clean with no signs of wear, you might have something special. Sending your coin to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can give you an official assessment of its value. Keep an eye on auction sites to see what similar quarters are selling for. At the end of the day, most 1986 p quarters are still worth just a quarter. But for those rare exceptions, the ones with perfect grades or mind-blowing errors, that's where the real money is. So don't ignore that change jar or dismiss those old coins in your collection. You never know when you might be holding a hidden treasure. If you like this video and want to see more about rare coins worth big money, hit the like button and subscribe. And if you've ever found a rare or valuable coin, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're going through your change, maybe looking for a couple of quarters to feed a parking meter, and bam! You spot a 2000 p New Hampshire quarter. Nothing too exciting, right? Just another state quarter? Well, what if I told you that one of these bad boys has supposedly sold for $1.6 million? Now, that's the kind of pocket change we all dream about. Before you start flipping over your couch cushions looking for loose change, let's break down the facts. What makes this particular quarter so special? Why are collectors going nuts over it? And most importantly, could you actually have one of these million-dollar coins hiding in your pocket? The 2000 p New Hampshire quarter was part of the 50-state quarters program, one of the most popular coin series in U.S. history. This quarter features the iconic Old Man of the Mountain, a natural rock formation that was a state symbol until it sadly collapsed in 2003. If you've ever been to New Hampshire, you know this was a big deal. But here's where things get interesting. Not all New Hampshire quarters are created equal. Some have rare errors or are in pristine condition, making them highly sought after by collectors. And when collectors start competing for rare finds, prices can skyrocket. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. There are three major factors that can turn an ordinary quarter into a small fortune: condition, errors, and demand. First up, condition. If your 2000 p New Hampshire quarter looks like it's been through a war, scratched, worn, and barely recognizable, it's probably still worth just 25 cents. But if you have one in mint state, graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service, you're looking at something much more valuable. The highest graded examples are the ones that fetch serious money at auctions. Next, let's talk about errors. Some of these quarters have striking mistakes, like off-center strikes, double dies, or missing details. These errors happen during the minting process, and collectors go wild for them. One of the most famous errors found on the 2000 p New Hampshire quarter is the misaligned die, which can create an odd-looking or even double-stamped appearance. And then we have demand. A coin is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it, and right now, rare state quarters are hot. Social media and online auctions have driven up the hype, and when a coin gets a reputation for being rare, prices can skyrocket. But has one actually sold for $1.6 million? That's where things get tricky. Some sources claim a private sale at that price, but official auction records show the highest confirmed prices are still in the thousands, not millions, at least, not yet.so. What should you do if you think you have one of these valuable quarters? First, inspect it closely. Look for mint errors, check the condition, and compare it to known rare examples. If it looks promising, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it officially evaluated. And if you do have a true rarity, you might just be sitting on a life-changing payday. At the end of the day, most 2000p New Hampshire quarters are just worth a quarter. But the excitement of the hunt? That's priceless. Whether you're a serious collector or just someone who likes the idea of turning spare change into a fortune, keep your eyes peeled. You never know what you might find. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more rare coin finds, collecting tips, and stories from the world of numismatics. And if you've got a rare coin story of your own, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Imagine this: you're sifting through your pocket change, and you spot a 1971 Washington quarter with no mint mark. You do a little research and suddenly, you see headlines screaming that this little piece of metal could be worth $1.7 million. Now, you're staring at your quarter like it just turned into gold. But is it really worth that much? Well, stick around, because today we're breaking down the facts, the myths, and the truth about the legendary 1971 no mint mark Washington quarter. And hey, before we dive in, if you love learning about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the incredible world of numismatics, make sure to subscribe. You never know, your next big discovery could be hiding in your spare change. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1971 Washington quarter was struck in massive numbers. Over 350 million of them were produced that year. But here's the kicker: most of them were made at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with Philadelphia quarters traditionally not having a mint mark. So why all the hype about the no mint mark version? Well, it comes down to rarity and errors. While standard 1971 Philadelphia quarters aren't rare, certain high-grade specimens and unique mint errors can send values skyrocketing. And when collectors and investors get wind of a potential rarity, prices can go through the roof. Why would a 1971 quarter be worth $1.70 million? Let's break this down into three major factors: condition, errors, and collector demand. If you're holding a heavily circulated 1971 quarter, I hate to break it to you, but it's still just worth 25 cents. But if your coin looks pristine, it could be a different story. The highest grades, mint state 67 or higher, are extremely rare, and collectors will pay big bucks for them. Coins graded MS68 or better could fetch thousands, and if a perfect MS70 example ever surfaced, who knows what it could sell for? Now, this is where things get exciting. Certain error coins can be worth serious money, and that's what makes the hunt so thrilling. Some key errors to look for on a 1971 quarter include: if the lettering or date appears doubled, you might have a valuable error coin. If the design is noticeably off-center, it can increase the value. Sometimes, coins were accidentally struck on the wrong metal. If you find a 1971 quarter struck on a silver or foreign planchet, it could be worth a small fortune. A confirmed error coin combined with a high grade. Now, we're talking serious money. Coin collecting is all about supply and demand. If a rare error quarter becomes famous, maybe it's featured in an auction, a collector discovers a unique variation, or the media hypes it up, prices can explode. While no confirmed $1.7 million sale has been recorded for a 1971 no mint mark quarter, the possibility of an ultra-rare variety could always push prices higher. Remember, unique finds in the numismatic world can surprise even the experts. If you've got a 1971 Washington quarter that looks different from the rest, here's your game plan. Use a magnifying glass or microscope to check for errors, doubling, or off-center strikes. Standard clad quarters should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours is significantly different, it might have been struck on the wrong planchet. If you think you've found something special, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can drastically increase its value. Don't believe every headline you see. Check recent auction results to see what similar coins have actually sold for. If your coin turns out to be valuable, consider selling it through a reputable auction house where serious collectors bid. Big.so. Is there a 1971 no-mint Mark Washington quarter out there worth $1.7 million? As of now, no confirmed sale has reached that level, but rare, high-grade, or error coins can still be worth thousands. And who knows? Maybe one day, a unique discovery could break all the records. The real fun is in the hunt. So keep checking your change, keep learning, and keep the excitement alive. And if you do happen to find $1 million quarter, be sure to let me know. We'll all be celebrating with you. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin collecting secrets, and drop a comment about your best coin finds. Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Imagine finding a simple 1985 Washington quarter in your pocket change, only to realize it's worth a staggering $1.8 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, today, we're diving deep into what makes certain 1985 quarters so valuable, what to look for, and how you might just have a fortune sitting in your pocket. So, grab your coin collections and let's get started. First, let's talk basics. The Washington quarter has been around since 1932, but the 1985 quarter was minted in Denver and had a production of over 520 million coins. Now, with such a high mintage, you'd think they're all common, right? Wrong. Certain rare error coins and high-grade examples have fetched jaw-dropping prices at auctions. Now, the big question, why is this specific 1985 quarter worth $1.8 million? Some of these quarters were struck on the wrong planchet or had a dramatic double die error. Quarters with a perfectly detailed reverse, including crisp drum lines on the colonial drummer, are extremely rare. High-grade condition, MS68 or higher. If a coin is nearly flawless and graded by PCGS or NGC at MS68 or MS69, it becomes incredibly valuable. A small number of these coins were minted with unusual characteristics, such as missing clad layers or off-center strikes. So, how do you know if your quarter is worth a fortune? Look for the D mint mark below Washington's ponytail. Search for double die obverse, DDO, or reverse, DDR errors. Coins with no scratches, strong luster, and sharp details are worth more. Some rare coins have missing or misaligned clad layers, which boost value. The highest recorded sale of a 1985 Washington quarter was an astounding $1.8 million. But even if you don't have the $1 million quarter, other high-grade examples have sold for thousands. Lower grades with rare errors. $50 $500 if you think you've got a valuable 1985 quarter, here's what to do next. Submit your coin to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. Heritage auctions and Stack's Bowers are great places to list rare coins. Reputable dealers can help you price and sell your coin for top dollar. eBay, Etsy, and other platforms can connect you with buyers, but be cautious of scammers. So, there you have it. The 1985 Washington quarter isn't just another piece of pocket change. It could be a hidden treasure. Check your collection, inspect your quarters, and who knows? You might just be holding on to a coin worth millions. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on valuable coins. And let me know in the comments, what's the rarest coin you've ever found? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting and mind-blowing discoveries in coin collecting, the 1967 no-mint Mark Washington quarter. Now you might be thinking, a 1967 quarter? I've got a bunch of those sitting in my junk drawer. Well, hold on to your hats, because one of these bad boys recently sold for an astonishing $1.9 million. Yep, you heard that right. A single quarter, 25 cents, fetching nearly $2 million. So, what makes this coin so special? And more importantly, do you have one? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how to cash in if you're lucky enough to own one. Let's get into it. Now, before we jump into the details, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old box of coins I inherited from my grandfather. I was about to toss a pile of common quarters into the spended jar when something told me to take a second look. Turns out, one of those coins was actually worth a few $100. That moment taught me a valuable lesson: always check your change, because you never know when you might be holding on to a fortune. And today, I don't want you to make the same mistake, especially when we're talking about a coin worth nearly $2 million. So, let's talk about the 1967 Washington quarter. First off, why doesn't it have a mint mark? Well, back in the 1960s, the U.S. Mint was dealing with a massive coin shortage, mostly due to silver hoarding. As a result, they stopped putting mint marks on coins from 1965 to 1967 to discourage collectors from pulling them out of circulation. That means all 1967 quarters were minted without a mint mark, so the lack of one doesn't necessarily mean you've got a rare one. But here's where things get interesting. What makes it worth $1.90 million? Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What makes this 1967 quarter worth millions? It all comes down to a few key factors. Minting errors. The most valuable coins usually have some kind of error that makes them unique. Double dies, off-center strikes, missing layers, or even overstrikes can skyrocket a coin's value. Condition. Coins graded in near-perfect condition, MS67 or higher, are insanely rare. Most quarters from 1967 have been used, abused, and tossed in vending machines for decades. Finding one in pristine condition? That's like winning the lottery. Special varieties. Some coins have unusual traits that make them stand out. For instance, there are reports of certain 1967 quarters struck on silver planchets instead of the regular copper-nickel composition. If you find one of those, you're in for a payday. Valuable. So now the million-dollar question: how do you know if your 1967 quarter is worth big money? Grab a magnifying glass and check for doubling in the lettering or numbers. Double die errors can be a game changer. A standard 1967 quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours is heavier or lighter, you might have something special. If you don't see any copper color on the edge and it looks solid silver, it could be a silver planchet error. If your coin looks pristine or has unusual features, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. A high grade can make all the difference in value. Alright, let's talk numbers. While that $1.9 million sale is the record breaker, most 1967 quarters won't fetch that kind of money. Potentially six figures or even millions. So, let's say you've found a valuable 1967 quarter. What's next? eBay, Heritage Auctions, and Stax Bowers are great options. If you want an expert opinion in person, check out local coin dealers or coin shows. Before selling, get your coin certified by PCGS or NGC to maximize its value. So there you have it, folks. That 1967 quarter in your change jar might just be a hidden treasure. Always check your coins, especially older ones. You never know when you might be holding on to a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin collecting tips, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin in your change. Who knows, you could be the next person to cash in big. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we dig deep into coins that could change your life. Today, we're talking about a modern-day treasure, the The 1994p Washington quarter. Believe it or not, one of these bad boys has been valued at a jaw-dropping $2 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $2 million. And guess what? You might have one sitting in your change jar right now. Stick around because I'm going to break down exactly why this coin is worth so much, how to identify it, and what to do if you hit the jackpot. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Now, most of us think of quarters as, well, quarters. Toss them in a parking meter, grab a gumball, no big deal. But the 1994p Washington quarter? This one is different. This isn't just some random quarter. There are extremely rare error coins from this year that collectors are going absolutely nuts for. And I mean selling your house to buy it nuts. Alright, here's where it gets interesting. The reason one of these coins is worth millions boils down to rare errors and unique striking characteristics. Some key things to look for include: this means the front of the coin was struck twice, causing a noticeable doubling effect on the words and details. If the design isn't perfectly centered, that's a rarity bonus. Sometimes coins are mistakenly struck on the wrong type of metal, and that makes them super valuable. If your quarter looks like it just rolled off the minting press, you're in business. The quarter that sold for $2 million had a rare minting error, making it a one-of-a-kind coin. Here's the deal. Most of these error coins were released into circulation before anyone even realized how rare they were. That means there's a chance, albeit a small one, that one of these quarters is hiding in your pocket change, your couch cushions, or even that old piggy bank collecting dust in your closet. Imagine walking into a coin dealer with what you think is a regular quarter and walking out a millionaire. It's happened before, and it can happen again. Now, don't just go spending your quarters without checking them first. You'll want to examine the details closely. Make sure it's a P Philadelphia Mint under the date. Pay close attention to doubling, misalignments, and any unusual markings. If it was struck on the wrong planchet, it might be lighter or heavier than normal. If you think you got something special, take it to a reputable coin dealer or have it graded by PCGS or NGC. Collectors are paying top dollar for rare error coins, and the demand isn't slowing down. In fact, coin collecting is hotter than ever. The rarer the coin, the bigger the payday. And it's not just the $2 million quarter. Other 1994 quarters with minor errors have been selling for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. So, it's worth checking any 1994p quarter you come across. Alright, guys, that's the scoop on the 1994p Washington quarter that could turn you into a millionaire overnight. If you've got some spare change lying around, it's time to start checking. Who knows? You might be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. If you found this video helpful, smash that like button and subscribe for more coin hunting tips. Let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin in your change. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel where we talk about the incredible, mind-blowing world of rare and valuable coins. Today, I've got a story that's going to make you run to your coin jar immediately. Imagine finding a simple Washington quarter in your change and discovering it's worth a whopping $2.1 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.1 million. And this isn't some fairy tale. It's the reality of a very special 1981p Washington quarter that has collectors going crazy. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into this fascinating tale of numismatic treasure. Before we talk about the value, let's take a quick trip back to 1981. The Washington quarter had already been a staple of U.S. currency since 1932, honoring the first president of the United States. But in 1981, something unique happened, an error, a rarity, or a minting anomaly that made a handful of these coins extremely valuable today. This quarter was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it bears the P Mint mark. 1981 was an interesting year because the mint was still using traditional minting methods before the big technological upgrades of the late 80s. That means more opportunities for small variations, mistakes, and misprints, which are exactly what makes some coins worth serious money today. Now, what makes this coin worth $2.1 million? Several factors come into play. There have been reports of double dives, off-center strikes, and even a few coins struck on experimental planchets. These minting oddities can make a coin extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. Coins graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can fetch astronomical prices. If your 1981p quarter is in near-perfect condition, it could be worth a life-changing sum. Only a handful of these valuable 1981p quarters have been discovered, making them incredibly rare. The fewer there are, the higher the demand, and the higher the price collectors are willing to pay. The coin market is driven by what collectors are willing to pay. And when a rare coin like this comes up for sale, bidding wars can drive the price sky high. So, how do you know if you have one of these rare treasure? Check the obverse front of the coin, right next to Washington's ponytail. If there's a P mint mark, you're off to a great start. Coins with no scratches, bag marks, or where are more likely to be valuable. A coin in uncirculated condition is your best bet. Look for any unusual characteristics, such as doubling of letters or numbers, off-center strikes, or a coin that feels slightly different in weight. If you think you've got a winner, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate and assign a grade, which directly impacts its value. Let me tell you a quick story about a collector who unknowingly had a fortune sitting in his collection. A man in his 60s, who had been saving coins for decades, decided to have his collection appraised. Among thousands of coins, a single 1981p quarter stood out. It was in near-perfect condition and had an unusual doubling effect. After sending it in for grading, he got the shock of his life. It was valued at $2.1 million. Can you imagine sitting on a fortune without even knowing it? If you happen to find one of these rare gems, where can you sell it? Sites like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers regularly sell high-value coins for top dollar. While risky, if you have a graded coin, you can list it with a "buy it now" price and potentially attract serious collectors. Meeting buyers face-to-face at major coin shows can help you negotiate a better deal. Some serious numismatists are always looking for rare finds. Reaching out to coin forums and collector groups can be a good way to sell directly. Even if you don't find a $2.1 million quarter, collecting coins can be an exciting and profitable hobby. You never know when a valuable coin might land in your pocket. Small errors can make a big difference in value. Keep them in protective holders to maintain their condition. Follow coin collecting news and auction results to learn about the latest rare finds. The incredible story of the 1981p Washington quarter that could make you a millionaire overnight. Imagine the possibilities if you find one of these hidden treasures in your coin collection. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel,